hello and welcome once again. This is Diana Catherine Plopa. I am the host of today's show, Indie Reads TV, brought to you by Pages Promotions. And in the studio with us today, we have Ms. Dora Badger. She is really well known in the Detroit area, in the book scene. She does lots of different book stuff, lots of community advocacy stuff. We're going to talk about all of that today. So I am super, super happy to have you in the studio. I really appreciate you coming down and doing this with me.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. I'm
Sure.
really looking forward to our conversation.
Yeah, it's going to be fun.
Yeah.
We've known each other kind of from a distance for several years.
That's true.
And we've seen each other kind of in passing here and there and in and around festivals and such. So, Carytown and others. So it's really nice to have you here so that we can actually do this one-on-one. I've been wanting to do this for quite a while.
Yeah,
so.
Me too. I think this is fantastic. It's a great opportunity. So
It's going to be fun. So let's start with just the real basic, bio stuff. Who are you? Where'd you come from? What drew you to writing and publishing?
Well, I'm from Ohio originally and moved to Detroit back in the late 90s and loved it. And I've been in Detroit ever since, just about 20 years now. So
Wow.
I'm having a great time. And I've always been interested in writing. I've been reading since I was 3 years old. I had very well-developed tastes by the time I was probably about 6 or 7.
Okay.
Much to my parents' distress, I always went for, the spooky stories. The spookier, the better.
Great.
So I've always been interested in horror.
Yeah.
Dark mysteries, reading Agatha Christie at a very young age. And, my parents they were very
throw their hands up and
laid-back
say, well,
people.
it is what it is. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So I've been writing most of my life, really. And now the opportunities for indie writers are so huge that, I think anyone who wants to do it, as long as you put in the work, it's just such an exciting time to be doing this. So.
Oh, absolutely. I agree. The advent of technology and what it's offered us with POD publishing is tremendous. And really in the last, fewer than 10 years, the whole industry has really turned around in our favor.
It has. It really has. And, using social media as well and using all of the avenues that you have now to build an audience where you can find your people, because that was such a struggle for published authors,
and still
for
is.
decades.
Yeah, I talk to so many authors who say that their biggest frustration is that marketing, building platform, building audience thing.
Oh, yeah.
And I have 5 books and I still find it a huge struggle. That part of it, which is the biggest reason why I'm doing this show, is to offer indie authors a platform.
I think that's great.
Well, that's what we're trying to do anyway.
Every avenue is a good avenue, hopefully.
So, hey, I pushed the right button. I'm always so excited when I do that. So this is Detroit Specials, formerly known as Woodward Press, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. And there's been some change in personnel and some change in goals and a shifting in direction a little bit. So tell us about what Detroit Specials does.
Okay. Detroit Specials is an indie author resource center. What we do is we offer editing, we offer, book composition and layout, both for print and ebook.
Okay.
We offer some small marketing packages. Marketing is very hard to get right, so we do what we know we can do: press releases, author promotional packets, and helping connect authors who are sometimes very introverted to reviewers, to festivals, help them sort of behave as the bridge between the author and the people that they want to reach out for to marketing opportunities. So, for example, you're very familiar, I'm sure, with a Libris and all of that ridiculousness.
Yeah, Author House, Ex Libris, Trafford, all of those.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Ex Libris.
Yeah.
Where they get into trouble, I think, with their marketing packages is they upsell
constantly.
They upsell constantly.
Yeah.
They mark things up to a ridiculous degree.
Yes.
And 90% of the time it's stuff that authors can find on their own, but they're overwhelmed by all the options.
Sure.
So
yeah, well, and I think that's the same thing too, not just on the marketing side, but on the publishing side as well.
Exactly.
So many, they offer you all these great packages of solutions and options,
Yep.
but each one is at another incremental price. And between the overwhelm of, oh my gosh, what do I need and what do I don't need, along with how much is this going to cost me?
Yep.
And then you throw into that kettle the ugliness of marketing and how much that costs.
Yep.
It can get really overwhelming for authors, and they just don't know where else to go. And unfortunately, companies like yours and mine are so small that, we don't have the advertising, clout that some of these bigger companies have. So while we might be able to bring some specialized services for a lower price, they don't know about us. So this now gets to be your platform. Tell us all about it.
Well, okay. So, for example, again, speaking to Author Solutions and all of those guys, an editing package doesn't need to cost $4,000 or whatever they're doing.
Right.
And you hear reports constantly from authors that their editing isn't even that good.
Right.
You know what I mean? So when I offer editing, the rate that I charge is the rate that I charge. And it comes with a second free pass.
Right.
Just because, I've done the work and told the author what I think the edits are that need to be made.
Right.
The author goes back and does the work and makes the edits. I feel like to stand by my original commentary, it needs a double check,
right.
and it really helps.
Yeah.
It really helps them get value for their money.
Right.
I mean, most authors, that are just starting out in indie publishing, even ones that have been around for a while, they don't have that budget.
No, right.
People are. It's like multi-level marketing almost. People mortgage stuff to pay for
right. Yeah,
for their book.
And it doesn't need to be that way.
It really doesn't. It doesn't.
So, and I'm really pleased that you're on the scene because, I certainly can't do it all. And it also makes us colleagues so that, I mean, we're really reaching toward the same goals. We're not in competition with each other in the least, and I've never felt that way. So even with some of the other smaller publishing companies in the state, I've always felt that, the goal is to get more books on the shelves.
Yes, and to make them as good as they possibly can be.
Exactly. Yeah. So talk to me about Detroit Specials. We've talked about is the publishing marketing company that you operate, and you have a staff of resource people that you reach out to.
Yes.
You're going to be opening a new shop shortly, right?
Yes, I've been wanting to open a bookstore forever. I kind of fell into used book sales almost by accident. Mm-hmm. There was a gentleman who had lost his home to foreclosure, and the new owner gave him a certain amount of time to remove his book collection, and he wasn't able to, unfortunately. And the man had thousands of books, probably 10, 15,000 books. Mm-hmm. And so the new owner put an advertisement up saying, somebody please take these books because they're expensive to haul.
Right.
So I went and took the books. I spoke to the previous owner, and we came to an arrangement where I would sell a number of the books on consignment so that he would receive a bit of money for the time that he had put in.
Sure. And that has grown into this used book sale that you do periodically that's ginormous.
Well, now my home is full of books.
Yeah. How many storage units do you have full of books?
Just my house, but it's a 6,000 square foot house.
Holy moly.
They need a home of their own.
Yeah.
We still take donations in. Frequently the donations are either from people who have been in the book business themselves and have retired, former teachers who have retired. Most often, though, the books have come from collectors who have passed away and their loved ones are just looking for a good home for the books. We sell all of our books now with every book sale now comes with a donation to, every book sale now, a percentage of the sales goes to a rescue group. And
see if I can push the right button.
Sure.
No, that's not it. No, that's not it. No, that's not it. There it is.
There it goes.
I'm so bad with it. Brand new equipment, and I'm still trying to figure it out. So
No, it's
there
beautiful.
we go.
Friends of Detroit Animal Care and Control is our charity this quarter and through the first quarter of 2020, so through the end of March 2020. And we're donating 30% of all sales from a particular donation that we received of 6,000 high-quality mystery books.
That's fantastic.
From a single collector. I mean, they're beautiful, beautiful books. And 20% of all other sales are going to Friends of Detroit Animal Care and Control.
That's
through
fantastic.
March 30th.
Oh my gosh, how wonderful.
Yeah.
That is so very cool. I'm so glad that you're doing that. You know, one of the really big focuses for me over the years has always been community service and literacy that serves community. Yeah. So I'm glad that you've kind of taken on that mantle as well. And I know that you're heavy into animal rescue yourself.
Yes.
I'm constantly seeing a new creature that has found a home with you, which is fabulous. And you're finding homes for other little creatures, too. So I'm very grateful that you're doing that for the animals because they don't have a voice. So I'm glad that you're being their advocate and that you can build literacy into that is just wonderful. So thank you for doing that.
Well, and it really takes a village. Like all of these rescue organizations struggle so hard with stray animals, with animals whose owners had to give them up for one reason or another. And I really think that everything that anyone can do to help find these animals homes is just fantastic.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. Let me see. Button. Which button? Ta-da!
That's me.
Okay, so this is your book, and I have not read this yet. But part of why I have not read this yet is because, quite honestly, the cover frightens me. So tell me about your book.
So this is
maybe you can make it less frightening for me.
It's an effective cover.
It is an effective cover.
So like I said, I'm very invested in horror. I love horror stories, but I'm not one for the gross out. There is a story in here where it gets a little bit gross, but for the most part, I prefer atmospheric horror. So think Shirley Jackson over, some of the slasher type films or that kind of thing.
So it's more creepy horror rather than gross horror?
Yes, for the most part.
All right, then I could probably read it.
Yeah. I think a story in here that you'd like very much is one called Lemonade Songs, which was based on a dream I had where my daughter was a child again and was singing the dead back to life. And for some reason in the dream, the only way that we could stop them from destroying everything was to give them lemonade. And we kept running out of lemonade. And I was saying, please stop singing.
Wow.
And, she just kept singing and more dead people kept coming. And I had to go get lemonade constantly. And so anyway, but the story is from the point of the view of the mother who has discovered that her daughter has this gift or curse. And
depending on your POV.
she keeps singing dead people back to life, but they aren't physically dead. They aren't like zombies. They're more made of ash, and they come and they drink the lemonade and they sort of move on. But where the horror comes in, aside from just dead people suddenly being around, is that when they consume water, it's gone forever, and they're spreading. Because water, as you know, goes into the water cycle.
Right.
It can get polluted. It can get very hard to purify, but it's still there for us. And the mother can see down the road that if her daughter keeps doing this,
there won't be any water
left, and it'll just be a world of ash.
Wow. Okay. Now you've completely intrigued me.
And she comes up with a solution that's unfortunate for her daughter, but spares her life.
Okay.
But it's still a dark story. But I wrote it as gracefully as possible.
Okay. And it is a novella or a novel. It's not a collection of shorts.
This is a collection of shorts.
Oh, it is a collection of shorts.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
I was trying to pick a story in here that I thought wouldn't creep you out too much.
No, that's good. No, I was confused. I wanted to make sure I understood the format of the book. So if it's shorts, then that's good because then I can take it in small doses and have something else in between so I don't get completely freaked out.
Yes. It's in a few sections: fearsome fables, tiny terrors, and motherhood and monsters. So
okay, yeah, I'm one of those people that I like edge of your seat tension, but I don't like turn on every light in the house scary. Like,
Yep.
I can't do my first foray into Stephen King was Pet Cemetery. So
That's
I
a hard one for
I
an animal
got
lover.
I got messed up.
That's a
I
hard
did.
one for an
Yeah.
animal lover.
Yeah, it was not good.
Yeah.
So I don't do a lot of Stephen King anymore.
I guess that's fair.
So tell us about this one.
That's a book that my niece wrote, and it's about her cat and what he does when the humans are away. So Buddy is a very adventurous cat. He always has these business ideas. He's very entrepreneurial, and every single one of his business ideas is a failure. So, she had written several Buddy the Cat stories before producing this book, and my brother came to me and said, we want to turn one of them into a book. So I helped him find the illustrator and helped with the layout and the production, and yeah, it turned out beautifully.
So is this would you call it a children's book, or is it
Definitely a children's book.
Okay, what age
She was
group
9
about?
years old when she wrote it, so it's about for that age group.
Okay.
Like 7 to 9.
That's fabulous. Oh my gosh. And you brought a
And
copy
I
with you?
did bring a copy, yes. And she caught the writing bug. She's been writing ever since. And
Okay, I got to show people this at home.
Oh,
I
of
hope
course.
we can see this. This is just fabulous. Look at how see, it's the mirrored effect. Look at how cute that is. That's adorable. Let's see what else we can find in here. Oh, look at this. This is yeah. I'll be getting a copy of that too.
Yeah.
I have nieces.
It's basically
So-
her and her cat. And and Amanda Erb did the illustrations. She's an illustrator we found online. Raven picked her,
Okay.
the girl who wrote
And
it.
we have, let me see if I can get the right. Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, dun, dun. Yep, and that's Raven and Buddy.
That's fabulous. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. And so, how old is Raven now?
Ooh. I believe she's 12.
Okay. So, she's still a young person.
Yes, she's still very
So,
young.
she
Yep.
published this book as a young person author.
Yes. Yes.
That's exciting.
And she has gone to schools and read it, for children, and yeah, she's still writing. She's into spooky stories too, so I'd better hurry up and make my name, or
She's going to just bulldoze right over the top of you.
yep, it may have
That's
already
great.
happened.
Oh my gosh. Thank you for sharing her with us. That's,
Of course.
That's so cool. I love the little mouse. He's cute. The new shop is going to be in the Russell, which
Yes.
is a pretty exciting, resurgent area of Detroit.
Yes.
Can you talk a little bit about the area, the where the shop's going to be, and kind of what your vision is for how the shop is going to run?
Oh, of course. So the Russell is in one of Detroit's many warehouse districts. It's very close, actually, to the new Animal Care and Control building and the new Michigan Humane Society building.
Okay.
So it's right near where two buildings that I just adore, the people I adore.
Well, it's like light at 94 and 75, right? In that
it's
just
pretty close to
north of
that.
94, right?
Yep.
Almost bordering Hamtramck, isn't it?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it's very close to Hamtramck.
I know. I've seen the mural on the side of the building when I drive by on 75 occasionally.
And a lot of people who live in the area used to go to the Russell Bazaar when it was open. It was
Okay.
sort of a flea market in one of their huge expo spaces. The Russell itself was a former factory,
Okay.
and it shut down, I want to say, in the 90s, although I'm not 100% sure on that. It may have shut down earlier, but it opened up again I think it shut down earlier than that because it opened up again in the early 90s, and there's an incense company in 1992 when they started opening it up to craftspeople who will actually be making their products available for us to sell too once we're in
Oh,
there.
great.
They started in the Russell, had to move on, and
Okay.
but in a way they're coming back with us, so that's nice.
That is great. So, what's your vision for the shop? Is it just going to be books and various other sundry things? Do you have a bigger plan for it?
One of the wonderful things about the Russell is that it's sort of an incubator for artists and for musicians locally.
Okay.
And I have a condition, type of porphyria, that makes it difficult for me to go out during daylight hours.
Okay.
So we are going to be a late night shop.
Oh, nice. That's a great option.
The Russell still has a bunch of concerts. They have a lot of activities that go on after hours. And so we're hoping to help pull shoppers from those events. And we're also hoping to sort of be a nexus as well for the literary community in Detroit. Detroit has a wonderful used bookstore, as you know, John King Books.
Oh, absolutely.
But they close at 5:30.
Oh.
I could spend all day and night in there easily.
Oh, without question.
But they close at 5:30.
It's a dangerous place with me and a credit card.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
It is.
So this is it's a great option. First of all, John King is going to be closed when you're open, so you reduce that competition problem. But it's also a great idea if you're going to the Russell for another event.
Yes.
This is an option for you to go a little bit early and browse.
Yep.
Or while you're waiting for traffic to kind of dissipate after an event, you can go and browse.
Yes, and actually that's a really good point, because the Russell does have a huge secure parking lot, but it's also kind of a nightmare to navigate when there's a concert.
So it'd be a great after event spot.
Yes. We're going to have all the best after parties. We already have, there's a group in Detroit called Gemini Tarot, twin sisters who do tarot readings.
Okay.
They've already agreed to come and work with us. Young woman, Amy Probst, out in Ypsilanti, who I believe is the only person authorized to teach Linda Berry, the cartoonist Linda Berry's Writing the Unthinkable workshop.
Okay.
Has expressed some interest in working with us.
That's
because
great.
She's always looking for a good space to
Sure.
hold her workshop. We will also have workshop space when we're not open. And hopefully we have a fundraiser going. If we raise enough money, we'll be able to build in a private meeting space. And if we can't, then we'll have sort of a semi-private meeting space that will be available during hours that we're not open.
So give me an idea of the square footage. How big a space are you looking at initially?
Initially, we're looking at 600 square feet. That's
Okay.
enough to have bookshelves all around and have sort of a cozy space in the middle.
Sure.
And a nice kids space sort of off to the side.
Awesome.
And hopefully, we're hoping to upgrade relatively soon to a 1,000 to 1,400 square foot space.
That's great.
Where we could build in the private meeting spaces and all of that.
And then what's the timeline? When do you think that you're going to, I mean, I know a lot of it depends on fundraising.
Yeah.
But in a utopian world.
In a utopian world, we would at least be able to do a soft open for our holiday book flood. Every year there's the Scandinavian tradition of the book flood.
Yeah, we're doing one this year.
Yep.
We're partnering with Toad Blind Books in Berkeley.
Okay.
And we're trying to collect books for Beaumont Hospital's waiting rooms.
Oh, that's beautiful. That's absolutely beautiful.
So you're going to do one this year as well?
Yes, we will. And we're hoping to be able to do it in the Russell. If not, we'll sort of have to scramble for a place. As I'm sure you know, books are heavy.
Yeah.
So we don't do a lot of pop-up in-person sales. Right now, everything's online. But the book flood is our one thing that we do. So.
Okay.
Yeah. But if that doesn't work out with the funding, then we will be in the Russell by spring.
That's fantastic. For it to move along that quickly is really wonderful. And I understand the Russell has a lot of other spaces available. I peeked and went and looked on their website. So there's a lot going on there that maybe people don't know about. And I would encourage people to go check that out.
Yes, they're always renovating. They don't have a whole lot of retail space just yet, or like a lot of their clients aren't retail oriented necessarily. They're largely artists and musicians, but there are So Retro Camera Straps has an office there just a few doors down from me, and she's huge in the camera strap community, which
it's a thing.
You learn so many things.
Yeah,
exactly. Like, there's a camera strap community. And you go, really? And then you look at them, you go, oh wow, those are amazing.
Yeah, it's kind of like, my husband's a musician, and guitar straps. They're a thing.
Yeah,
who knew?
They're a huge thing.
Yeah, who knew?
So there is a little bit more retail moving back in there, like there was in the 2000s. And, hopefully it'll be a real nexus. I think the Russell wants to be a real cultural nexus for Detroit, and I think they're on track to do that.
Well, and it's a great space to resurge a part of Detroit that's really been dormant for a long time. And just to reiterate, they do have great secure parking. So people don't have to be worried about that.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Because I know that when we go to events downtown, that's one of our primary concerns. We go to MOT or whatever, and you always want to make sure there's good parking.
My biggest concern with the Russell is that they don't have very much accessible space at this point. And our building is not particularly accessible. We can make some accommodations, but we have to schedule in advance. So we'll probably have some accessible sales days where we can schedule with the security team in advance because we want everybody to be able to shop there.
Right.
And they just haven't done the retrofitting yet, and that's really not on the table for at least another year, from what I understand.
Okay.
So we're going to find ways to work around it. I would eventually like to have the ability to do pop-ups, maybe do things out in the parking lot or do things in their expo center, which is accessible. But again, books are heavy, and it takes a while to build the infrastructure, get the funding to get like rolling bookcases and all of that.
Yeah. I remember how frustrating that can be. Managing a bookshop, I know how all the stuff that goes into that.
Yeah.
Let's talk about your writing. Have you got any new books in the hopper? Are you working on any new things coming out?
Well, I brought up Lemonade Songs because I'm working on the sequel to that, where the little girl's all grown up and she doesn't realize that she's the source of this plague that's slowly spread over the world. And once she realizes that she's the source of it, she has to figure out a way to stop it. So that'll be sort of a young adult novel. I'm hoping to have that done next year and have it on shelves early 2021, fingers crossed.
Okay. Now, like, if you don't have enough to do, do you have any events or fairs or festivals where, or sales events where people can come out and find your used books? I mean, aside from Book Flood, are there any other events going on where people can come and discover you?
We don't have anything going on in person currently, again, because there's a lot happening.
Right.
But
they can find you on the website.
They can find me on the website. We have a lot of the books up on the site. If they see something they don't like, they can request a book. If we have it, we'll make it available to them at a decent price.
Right.
We also have an eBay store that's called Vintage Books 313.
Okay.
Because Detroit Specials was taken.
Well, okay.
Sure. But, so yeah, those are the two places to find us online. And like I said, they can always reach out if there's something they're looking for.
Okay, great. Yeah. Thank you so much for coming out. I'm so happy that we finally got to sit down and do this. We could probably talk for a couple more hours. Thank you so much for your time.
Oh, sure.
Have a nice night.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. Have a good night.
You too. Okay, I stumbled over